Richie Benaud was a man for whom cricket was his life. A leg-spinning all-rounder, he made his debut for Australia in 1952 and became the first man to do the double of 200 Test wickets and 2,000 Test runs.
He was in the top drawer, no question about that. He wasn't a sort of devastating spinner. In fact, in Test matches, he only got one 10-wicket haul. He got quite a few 5-wicket hauls. He wasn't a Shane Warne, but he was a considerable batsman as well, good catcher. He was quite a show pony, Richie. I remember him really as being the first of the teams we played against, who, you know, if you took a wicket, however ordinary, there was a lot of backslapping and high fives.
In his 63 Tests, Benaud took 248 wickets, more than any other Australian at the time. He also led his country with distinction, captaining them in 27 matches, and with a charismatic style of leadership that won him many admirers, he only lost 4 games while in charge.
He was a tremendous captain, and the important thing for me was that I was 16 at the time when Richie, 15, 16, when Richie took over the captaincy. But the important thing was that I saw the enthusiasm that Richie created in the team, and it was all aggressive cricket, and he had that ability to just bring everybody together, and they all wanted to play for Richie.
Well, he was very cool, Richie. You know, he had a very good presence about him, and he wouldn't flap, and he'd just be taking everything as though everything was going to come out right in the end. Very often did.
Men on the go, like Richie Benaud, use
Smooth-X. Best shaving break I've ever had.
Richie had always had his eyes set on a press career, and so he thought almost like a pressman, you know, and he wanted to give them what they wanted, and the crowds, I think, and to a large extent he was successful.
On quitting playing in 1964, Benaud decided to pursue that interest in the media by embarking on a career in journalism, and in particular in TV. When it came to commentary, Richie was from the less is more school, but when he did speak, it was always perfectly judged. There was the laconic.
Dear me, you wouldn't believe it. Simply wouldn't believe it. Richard Ellison, the catcher, 2 men out there waiting for the hook shot, bowl the bouncer and hit it straight down his throat.
There was the iconic.
They both are looking for that, let alone chasing it. It's going straight into the confectionery stall and out again.
And occasionally, just occasionally, overt excitement, Richie style.
He's got it away. It's 4. Hemmings has hit a 4 from the last ball, and Nottinghamshire have won the Benson and Hedges Cup of 1989.
He was very laconic, had a great turn of phrase, doesn't overspeak, doesn't irritate people. One of the early things he said to me was that you're kind of like a guest in somebody's front room, really, for 6 hours of the day. So try not to irritate them. Try not to get to the stage where they want to switch you off, and I've tried to bear that in mind.
It was brilliant. He was just great to talk to. He taught me so much about the pregnant pause. Don't talk too much and describe what we're seeing. You know, we can all see what it is, but describe what you're seeing and tell the viewer why it's happening.
And he's very meticulous, and he used to have his little box of sandwiches every day, all beautifully done, neatly, you know. Everything had to be in the right place, and he had his, you know, good morning everybody, all prepared, and he was very meticulous in what he did. You had to respect Richie, because he was, you know, a very keen student of the game. He didn't waste words, and everybody listened to what he had to say.
In 1977, Benaud became a key part of the Kerry Packer revolution, when he advised the Aussie TV magnate on how best to proceed with World Series. And when Packer subsequently won the rights to televise cricket in Australia, Richie had a job for life as the face of Channel 9.
Good morning and welcome to VFL Park Melbourne for the first day of the opening Super Test of the series.
With Richie at its helm, the Channel 9 commentary team swiftly became a cricketing institution, with their catchphrases immortalised in the Billy Birmingham 12th Man tapes.
He had this strange-sounding voice, and that he had the bottom lip, you know, with the mane of its hand. He turns side on, and it looks like he's been hooked. And the hair was always perfect, you know, that sort of swept across just halfway down the ears. So you had this lovely scenario of, you know, not only me and my friends, but literally hundreds of thousands of people across Australia were drawn back into this game and this new presentation. You've got Richie and the captain of the commentary team, as I made him, Tony and Bill Laurie, who went on to form a very strong alliance over the decades. But Tony was always the one who did the pitch report. And let's get out now to Tony Gregg for his pitch report. Yes, thank you, Richie, and what a marvellous one-day strip's been prepared here.
And it still goes on. You still get guys turning up at the cricket in the white jackets with microphones, and, you know, they've all got the grey wig on. And a lot of that stems back to Richie's popularity and also to the Billy Birmingham 12th Man tapes.
The Richies in the stand, there they are. Can you believe that, Rich?
Well, I mentioned up in the commentary box, they seem to have more hair than I've got.
Is that the beige or the off-white?
Well, they're all in a sort of an off-white, but that doesn't exist anymore. All we've got is the navy suit.
For all the mickey taking, what nobody could dispute was that Richie had a deep love of the game. And if he saw something that he thought was wrong, he wasn't afraid to say so, as he made quite clear over the Trevor Chappell underarm affair.
I think it was a disgraceful performance from a captain who got his sums wrong today, and I think it should never be permitted to happen again. We keep reading and hearing that the players are under a lot of pressure and that they're tired and jaded and perhaps their judgment and their skill is blunted. Well, perhaps they might advance that as an excuse for what happened out there today. Not with me, they don't. I think it was a very poor performance, one of the worst things I have ever seen done on a cricket field. Good night.
He was also more than happy to talk leg spin to anyone interested in the art.
In my early days as an 18-year-old, I first met him in the commentary box when he was working over here in England, and since that time when I first met him, he'd always been there for me at any time. You could ring him and talk about, and he was sort of the captain, not just in the commentary box, but he was the leader and the captain of spin bowling too. Anyone who's had a problem with spin bowling, you go and speak to Richie, and Richie was so generous and everything with his time. He was wonderful to me over so many, 25 odd years of playing. He was always there, whether he was on holiday, you could call him any time, and he was always absolutely spot on.
That love of talking cricket was what made Richie Benaud one of the most popular commentators the game has ever known.
And I think worldwide he was loved, not just in Australia for Channel 9 and stuff, but worldwide. He worked over here in England, and he was so well respected for everyone, and he's a star.
He was a very reasoned person, very wise. He's one of those people who's much loved, I think, is probably the best way to describe Richie.
Well, I think, Dame Edna Everage is right up there as one of the icons of Australia, Barry Humphries, and Richie's right up there. He's probably above him as well. And I think we've got the Prime Minister of Australia and then Richie Benaud. I think that's where he probably sits. Richie, of course, was not just an Australian icon. He was loved all around the cricketing world by spectators and players alike.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, this is Richie Benaud's final test match in England as a commentator of Channel 4. He just actually started commentary at the bottom end. I'm sure you might